Hi everyone. Today I'm going to take you through the case study of the luxury car manufacturer Aston Martin. The case discusses the future strategy of the British luxury auto manufacturer. In the year 2016, when CEO Mr. Andy Palmer faced decisions about the company's future direction in an automotive industry, in the midst of a digital tornado with the arrival of autonomous, internet-worked, clean energy-propelled vehicles, Palmer's second-century plan called for Aston Martin to diversify into new vehicle categories and increase overall production volume in an effort to boost earnings without compromising on Aston Martin's reputation for exclusivity, style, and engineering. Now, before moving to this case study, I would request everyone to subscribe 5 Minutes Learning channel in YouTube in order to get my recent case study updates. Also, this case study is enabled with English subtitles for your better understanding. And now let's move to the case study. Aston Martin was founded in the year 1913 by a racing driver Lionel Martin, partnered with engineer Robert Bamford, to produce and race their own cars out of a small London workshop. In 1914, they began manufacturing sports cars commercially and named the company Aston Martin after Martin competed on a hill climb course, a set of timed auto racing events near the town of Aston Clinton, England. In 1920, Bamford departed, and in 1926, after several bankruptcies, Martin sold the company. In its first 13 years, Aston Martin had built about 60 cars, along with a reputation for blending power and style. Over the next 20 years, Aston Martin remained formidable on the racetrack. It produced a number of well-regarded luxury models, including sports cars and luxury sedans, called saloons. Nevertheless, the company was forced to refinance several more times. In the year 1947, Sir David Brown, a prominent British businessman, was seeking to create an English sports car company to rival Italy's Ferrari. He purchased the Aston Martin. He then promptly bought a second vulnerable British luxury marque, Lagonda, which was known for its saloons and engines designed by the famous Bentley. Soon Aston Martin was producing a new line of cars named for Brown's initial. It is also known as DB, the first of which debuted in 1948, followed by the DB2 in 1950. Under Brown, Aston Martin's reputation for superb driving quality, refined style, and top-notch engineering grew. In 1963, the DB5 premiered, the first of Aston Martin car to feature all-aluminum engine and to display Aston Martin's budding expertise at using the lightweight material in place of steel. A total of 1,059 DB5 were built, and it came to be considered an iconic model. It was also the first Aston Martin to appear in James Bond film in 1964's Goldfinger. Despite the acclaim of its cars, Aston Martin consistently failed to break even, and so Brown sold the company in 1972. In 1987, the Ford Motor Company took a partial stake in Aston Martin, and in 1988, the company released its first major new sports car platform in 20 years, the Voyage. In 1993, Ford consolidated control of the company and revived the DB moniker with the debut of the DB7 platform. In 1995, Aston Martin set a company record by manufacturing 700 vehicles in a single year. In 2000, Dr. Ulrich Bess was appointed as a CEO and chairman. In 2004, Aston Martin moved its V8 and V12 engine production to Ford's plant in Cologne, Germany, helping to boost capacity to 5,000 engines per year and achieve economies of scale that freed the Gaydon factory to focus on specialty models with smaller production runs. In the year March 2007, as a part of a series of disinvestments following its use to financing arranged by the US government, Ford sold all but 15% of its stake in Aston Martin. David Richards, a wealthy racing enthusiast and chief executive of ProDrive, paid $925 million for a controlling interest. Richards became chairman and Bess remained as a CEO. Under the leadership of autosports enthusiasts Mr. Richards and Bess, Aston Martin built on its legacy of cutting-edge design by focusing on racing and concept cars. Notwithstanding its image as a leader in luxury auto manufacturing, Aston Martin continued to struggle financially. In May 2013, Bess announced that he would retire the following year. His departure created further turmoil for a company that seeked to lack direction. In the year October 2014, Palmer stepped into the role of CEO. By 2016, Aston Martin's lineup of consumer models consisted mostly of two-door coupes and roadsters, including the street-friendly DB11 sports car Grand Tourer, the V8 and V12 Vantage variants, the sportier Vanquish, and the rapid four-door luxury sedan. Aston Martin also marketed some models under the Lagonda marque that had been revived in 2015 with the introduction of the Lagonda Tariff sedan, the first new Lagonda since the brand had been discontinued in the year 1989. Aston Martin was one of the world's most respected luxury brands. When Palmer arrived in 2014, notwithstanding the long gap since the DB9's release, Aston Martin was still a leader in body design and engineering. The company was expert at material sciences, crafting beautiful lightweight bodies using aluminum composites, carbon fiber, sheet molding, and other compounds. Aston Martin assembled its vehicles largely out of modular components acquired from Tier 1 suppliers or other auto manufacturers. Consumers had the opportunity to customize virtually every feature of their individual vehicles, from the specifics of the mechanical systems to the most detailed design features. Beginning with a particular model and variant, for example, either the V8 or V12 Vantage, customers used proprietary software at local dealership to start the process of designing their own unique Aston Martin. Most of the production process at the Gaydon facility were done by hand. Each vehicle took 220 hours to assemble compared to about 20 hours per unit to build standardized premium vehicles, such as top-end Land Rover. The only robo in the entire factory was the bonder, the machine used to perform the aluminum bonding process, which employees called James, as in bonder. Despite its strengths, Aston Martin suffered from weak earnings and organizational malaise when Palmer came on. "We skipped a generation after DB9," said CFO Mr. Mark Wilson. Early on, Palmer spearheaded organizational changes. "A cultural shift was needed," Mr. Wilson said. Although painful, personal cuts were deemed necessary. In the year 2014-15, Aston Martin reduced 295 positions, going from roughly 2,100 to 1,800 employees. Remaining employees, including about 1,100 in manufacturing, saw a 12-month pay freeze, which Aston Martin negotiated with the unions. Management was trimmed to reduce bureaucracy and flatten the organizational structure. Three axes reported to the CEO: planning, functions, and regions. Planning included development of new products from conceptualization and design through engineering. Functions included production as well as marketing, finance, IT, and others. The six regions includes China, Asia Pacific, Europe, the UK, the Americas, and Asia, Middle East, Africa, represented consumers and were charged with marketing and sales planning in their respective geographies. In all, the reorganization trimmed around £10 million in fixed cost from the annual budget and was expected to produce an additional £5 million in cost reduction through efficiency improvements. Palmer hoped the new organizational structure would boost interactions across divisions, improve efficiency by reducing management layers, and promote transparency. Increasing collaboration between design and engineering was especially important, so Palmer appointed Vehicle Line Executives (VLEs) to oversee each new development project. As Aston Martin entered its second 100 years, Palmer sought to generate excitement about Aston Martin's future. In particular, the second century plan called for refreshing Aston Martin's lineup with new designs and upping production volume to increase earnings. The question was how to do it in a way that built on the automaker's history of luxury, while capitalizing on its traditional strength in design and engineering. One path would be to follow the example of rival Ferrari by remaining a pure-play luxury sports car company. Another possibility was to remain committed to sports car but move down market into the premium segment. Decreasing price and increasing volume could boost earnings, but risked squandering Aston Martin's hard-earned reputation for glamour, power, and class. Historically, the company had carefully tended its exclusivity. Palmer and his team ultimately settled on a third option: to remain in the luxury segment while broadening Aston Martin's product portfolio to include vehicles beyond sports cars. The second century plan aimed to develop a new sports car platform and boost sports car sales to 7,000 to 10,000 units annually within 5 years. It also called for developing vehicles in two new segments: a crossover SUV called the DBX and a new electric luxury sedan, the Rapid EV. In order to increase capacity, the second century plan also called for an $80 million investment in a new factory in Walls. Palmer had considered locating the new facility in the US state of Alabama, where the government had offered incentives to lure the company, but eventually opted to keep production in the UK. By 2020, the second century plan aimed to raise production to around 15,000 vehicles annually, with projected EBITDA of £500 million. By the year 2016, even in the afterglow of the excitement of the DB11 premiere at the Geneva Motor Show, Palmer was worried whether Aston Martin's upcoming expansion into new product categories, its dramatic overall increase in production volume, and the planned incorporation of so much new technology into a new platform was the right strategy. It was hard to argue with the results of the competitor Ferrari's decision to remain a pure-play sports car company that derived extra revenue from its racing program and brand licensing. Also, they had recently came with an IPO which brought them a 10x to 13x EBITDA valuation. If Aston Martin get the DBX right, then other brand extensions comes easier, including the Rapid EV and racing vehicles. We look like Ferrari, but our scope is double. If we do DBX, it's the bigger game change ever, said Mr. Palmer in the show. Ferrari doesn't have a crossover, and if we get the DBX right, other brand extensions also come easier, including the Rapid EEV and the racing vehicles. Was selling 14,000 units per year, about half of which would be in segments other than the company's traditional heart and soul as a maker of high-performance luxury sports car. Is this the right approach? Or would it dilute the exclusive brand image of Aston Martin? These are the questions which was pondering in Mr. Palmer's mind. Thank you everyone for watching this video. See you soon with another interesting case study from a different industry altogether. Meanwhile, if you're interested in more such case studies, please visit 5 Minutes Learning channel in YouTube and please subscribe in order to get more such case studies.